It's for the first time that China has claimed troop disengagement in the hot springs region in eastern Ladakh. It's not clear why China has claimed that disengagement has been completed. Numerous rounds of diplomatic and military talks, but India and China have been unable to end the nearly 22-month standoff. Some news sources countered China's claims, saying that not all areas of contention at the hot springs have been cleared. What would have been the reason of this disengagement, according to you? What might they be planning? Are we going to see another face off like June 2020 or something big is coming? So the Chinese are claiming. So we had this big standoff over there, 22 months, like you say, most likely, yeah. Most likely that's how long it has taken, give or take. So what we have is a situation of this large mass of troops on both sides facing each other. It's a standoff like you have in those cowboy movies, two sides standing with guns drawn at each other, that sort of thing. So that's what's been going on. It's a pretty tense situation over there. It's all been triggered off by the Chinese, by their actions, by their provocative actions, by their trying to encroach into Indian territory. So it is the Chinese who have created the situation. The Indian side responded properly by sending adequate numbers of troops to face the Chinese. And so we have had this standoff going on for a very long time, for nearly 2 years. Now the two sides are trying to calm the tensions to an extent, and to disengage to a certain extent, to reduce the number of troops so that the situation calms down. And I'm not sure what's been agreed, but the Chinese have made the claim that the disengagement has been completed, which is clearly not true. So the Chinese always have this is a tactic they use repeatedly. They say that we have done everything from our side, we have fulfilled all the terms of the agreement, but they will actually not do that. But they'll make the claim that we have done everything, and then they'll put the onus on India for continuing tensions. So there is a tactic, a strategy that the Chinese have been using for decades, not only with India, with other countries. The Chinese cannot be trusted, right? So maybe they want to keep the pressure on India. That's It's not maybe, it's a certainty. They want to keep India under pressure. The Chinese have always wanted that. That's the reason why they have never agreed to demarcate the border. There have been these endless rounds of talks and negotiations about the border issue, but they want to keep this border issue open and simmering so that they can keep on needling India, pressurizing India from various locations as per their whims and desires, to keep India permanently on the back foot. On the one side, they use Pakistan as a counterweight to India or as a destabilizing factor, and on the other hand, they have this open border issue, which is still pending, and that's why they want to keep India constantly under pressure, because they fear the rise of India. Obviously, they fear that. So, what may they be planning? We don't know, but it is certainly possible that they may start something else in the coming days, weeks, months. It's possible. See, we have to understand the bigger picture perspective. Very soon, there's gonna be. I mean, in the next maybe within 2 years, most likely, there's gonna be a general election in India, a parliamentary election. And the Chinese would like to see a weak government come to power in India. They would not want to see the NDA government remain in power under somebody like Mr. Modi or somebody else. Possibly, I'm just guessing. They would not like a strong leader in India. Mr. Modi is most likely the strongest leader India has had in decades, as we can see from the geopolitical moves, from the diplomacy and all that that's going on. India has right now become the center of diplomacy. People from all over the world, diplomats, world leaders, coming to India for various purposes. So India is in a very strong position right now. India is secure militarily as well. We have uh, all the possible everything we need right now to be in a good position to defend ourselves against any Chinese malafide actions. So the Chinese do not like this. They want India to be weak, and for India to be weak, we would need a weak leader to be the leader of the country, the PM of the country. So they would like to see Mr. Modi lose the election in 2024, and maybe some weak coalition government with some random local leader should become the prime minister, like the situation we had in the 1990s, when you had governments that lasted 3 months, 4 months, and some very weak prime ministers were in place who messed up the country very badly. I will not take names at this point, but we know who they are. So that's the kind of thing they want. So how do you engineer that sort of situation where this government falls and a weak government comes into power? You do that by trying to by creating a setback for India. So for instance, if there is a military confrontation and hypothetically India doesn't do well and they lose and India loses some territory, the Chinese are able to gain some territory, which would be a humiliation for the Indian government and the Indian army. Then possibly the government could lose the next general elections and somebody else would come into power, and that's what the Chinese would love to see happen, right? So it is possible that they may be planning some kind of mischief along the border in the coming year or 2 years maximum. Yeah, maybe something along the Siliguri corridor or something. So we have to be. I mean, I am sure the government uh, factors all of these things, takes all of these things into account. They will understand these things much better than someone like me. They have experts and all that. So I'm sure we are aware of this, but I'm just saying that this is something the Chinese may be planning, they may be wishing. I am not sure if it's a very good idea for the Chinese to start a 1962 like situation with India. India is far better prepared today, so the Chinese could end up losing far more than they were hoping to gain. I mean, we are very well prepared vis-a-vis the Chinese in their position in Tibet. Whatever military uh, camps, etc., they have in Tibet, in Chinese occupied Tibet, are very much visible. They are very well known, and we know exactly what they have, where they have it. In case of hostilities, it would not be difficult for us to take everything out pinpoint from long distance ranges, and inflict a much bigger humiliation than China would be hoping to inflict upon India. But it is something that we have to be aware of. It is something that could be in the offing, and we have to be prepared for it. We cannot take the Chinese for granted. We can never ever be complacent. I'm sure we know our government, our armed forces. They are all very capable, very professional. They would know about this, but it is a possibility. So yeah, we may see another face off in the coming days, weeks, months, maybe a couple of years, or maybe something even bigger. And I'm sure we are adequately, more than adequately prepared for that.